Hi there, folks. Simon here. This is TAC University, a series about some tips and tricks and maybe just some things I've learned along the way to help bring your game to a higher level. Today, we are revisiting the topic of openings. We saw a lot of new ones come out in this 2021 TAC Open that just finished, so let's jump into the first example. The first example we're going to look at is the Knights opening, which has been made famous and popular by Fwib, or Fwib as we like to call him. He has been a big proponent of this opening, and let's jump right into it. So we see the first moves, typical adjacent corners, which you see most often, and so this is what White plays here. White goes for this move, and this is what we refer to as the Knights opening. And you may be thinking, yeah, that's because that's the knight move from chess, and that's exactly what it is. It's 2 down and 1 over from that starting position. Now, this is different from that mirrored opening, which would be playing here instead. Now, the reason why I think Fwib plays here and likes this knight's opening so much is because if you continue along with the mirrored opening like this, then the typical solution for black is to place a capstone on the other side of White's line. Now, in this case, that would put the capstone up against the wall, and that's not a position you want to be in as black with that capstone up against the wall. You want to have a little bit more mobility with it. So being able to do that keeps this sort of line, this mirrored opening sort of line, gives them a little bit better advantage, and they're able to switch gears into different directions pretty easily. Also, it helps them with a little bit of an edge crawl at the same time. We also saw some people trying to use some edge crawl, mostly Abyss, which is another top player, and he used some edge crawl openings against a number of different players, including No Hat Coder. And I won't touch on that because that is something we already discussed in the previous video. The next opening we're going to cover is the blanket opening. Now, this is an opening that I haven't given a name to until just now, but this is why I'm calling it the blanket opening. Let's say No Hat starts off with this position, which you would assume would start with this mirrored opening, and then black would place here, and then they would continue down. However, black places off to this side, so White plays here. And now White is playing along in this direction, not the mirrored opening, but this is sort of that blanket. You get White kind of building on top of that spot here. And black is sort of cut off from their own flats. Now, I've also seen the reverse of this, where White, instead of playing here, plays down below, then black plays underneath, and then White continues to build along here, able to bring a capstone up above. And so I think that's sort of an experimental one. Both of these, the blanket and the reverse blanket, are the experimental openings that I don't think we're going to see too much of, but No Hat has been experimenting with them for quite a bit, and we'll see if something comes out of them in the near future. And I think we may be seeing some other players start to adopt those too. However, that Knights opening is starting to really, really catch on. And this last opening we're going to cover is actually a response from Black, and it's one that I sort of coined, and I will put out there at the beginning, it's not particularly good. I just had solid results with it because nobody had seen it before and they didn't really know how to respond. So this is what we're going to call, based on a YouTube comment that I had, the Simmons Gambit. And so this is where you see the standard adjacent corners. White plays here like they're going for a mirrored opening. And typically for a mirrored opening, again, I would play here at d4. But instead, I played down here at c3. Now, at c3, White's thinking, all right, I guess I'll just play here at d4, which is typically what the response is. Now, here's where things start to get different, because this we saw in the previous game between No Hat Coder and Ali with that blanket opening. Instead, as black, I'm going to place here. Now, this takes away the momentum of White and gives it back immediately to black going for this edge crawl. And so you can see I just continue to go for this edge crawl. I have momentum. White's going to have to respond to that eventually. And so it's not particularly strong, but it did throw people off because it was new. And getting the momentum back that quickly is actually pretty fantastic. I'm just not sure where to go from here, because there's a lot of good moves that white can make here. Tossing down a flat or a wall here really messes me up. So there's a lot of different ways that white can come back from that. However, this was fun to play for a little while, and we've seen a few other people start to use it. Aliano too, in fact, started to use it, and he did much better than I did in this overall tournament. So really, really fun to see some of those other people trying out this new opening here, even though it's not particularly strong. Well, that is all I have for you today. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out the description below for all things TAC, especially the TAC Discord server, which is where you can find all sorts of resources, strategy guides, people to play with online via playtac.com or right there in the Discord itself. Anyway, that is all. Until next time, have a great day and happy tacking.